start, yeah.
Perfect. We'll start up here with Chris.
In general, how did the defense perform on Saturday for what you want them to accomplish out there on the field, and what can they take away from that experience going into this week?
Well, I think you take away it's a game one experience. So, just live tackling, I think is a big part of college football now when you get those game one experiences. But for the most part, I think we had 49 snaps. Did a really good job on third down. Tackling was solid. I think overall it was a solid performance.
You got Ira?
When you look at LSU's offense, I know there's a lot of change there, but there's also obviously a lot of talent in certain positions. How deep of a dive has the staff been doing, and how far does it go back in terms of trying to get a game plan ready so you guys aren't starting this week?
Well, with a staff change, it always goes back to who's calling the plays, and then the personnel that they have. So that's twofold. Sometimes when that question is answered, it's the same thing. Returning coach, returning players, it makes it a little bit more clean as far as the breakdowns. When those are different, that's when it becomes a little bit more of, you got to be smart on what information you're using. So I think no matter what personnel is, the play caller, his personality, his organizational structure of how he calls games, does things, you're always taking that. So there's a history of that you're going to put in play. And then the players he has, and that's not all LSU. That could be transfers, could be incoming freshmen. So those are the puzzle pieces that you have to put together. And that's why, you need to get that work started in the summer. And there's some history there too. And, we've coached against this staff in different pieces, in different ways, and some of the players as well. So, there's some history there, which helps, but it's definitely, there's a bigger folder up there when it says LSU 2022. There's a bunch of subfolders that you got to kind of put together and say, and then as you get going through it, other things will come up and it'll say, hey, when he had this type of wideout, what years was it in? What did it look like then? So those type of things always come up.
Second row, Hassan.
I don't think they've named a starter yet that I've seen for a quarterback. So how do you guys prepare for both quarterbacks? Because they do have a little bit of different styles as well.
You get ready for both quarterbacks. That's pretty much how you have to do it. Quarterbacks are quarterbacks. You're always studying the backups. You're studying the starters. It's just these guys are a little bit. They just haven't. There's a chance that could be a starter that hasn't played an LSU uniform, but there's enough film out there. You can get a good sense of who people are, and you try to put that person to another quarterback in the system before, and you try to piece that together.
Brendan.
The play of Tatum Bethune, could you just kind of break down what you saw from him, and then linebackers in general, please?
Yeah, I thought Tatum did a nice job. I mean, he flashed. We show cut-ups on Sunday. Sometimes we show make a play cut-up of just guys, in their one-on-ones, and Tatum had a nice play, and he brings a good energy. Tatum was exactly the way I thought he would be on game day, and I was proud of him. Thought he did a nice job. Definitely brings something to us. I think we rolled some of those linebackers through a little bit. I think for the most part, I thought they played well together, and they led the defense for the most part. I thought they did a nice job Saturday night.
Kirk.
You talked about studying the play caller. I guess I know you coached against him twice in 2019, right? I guess what were your impressions of Den Brockton and what he might bring to LSU?
Yeah, I mean, he's been super successful in every place he's been. There's a reason why Coach Kelly's one of the best in the business, and he, brought him with him to LSU. So, they were a challenge back then in 19 to prepare for. They had good players, like they have good players at LSU too, and everybody's got their own personality to play calling. Everybody's got their own stamp that they try to put on things, regardless of what players they have. And then some guys are more tailored to change. Some people aren't. And so, whether it's just situational, whether it's scheme, whether it's use of players, I think it's all part of the evaluation when you put a plan together. But Coach Denbrock's been super successful in a lot of different ways. He's been really balanced, and he's had success in a number of different places.
Ira?
You had several other transfers besides Tatum that played for the first time in games. Did you learn anything new about Greedy or any of those other guys that Jared, first time seeing them in the game?
Yeah, I don't think we learned anything new. I think there were some opportunities out there for all the different players that were out there, and I came out of that game pretty much with the same information on our defense and the same information on the players. Obviously, there were some things that guys flashed in really good ways. Sometimes there were some things that we got to correct, but I think we came out of that game verifying a lot of our thoughts on the group that we have out there and the rotations.
Brendan?
How valuable, I still have this question, I guess. How valuable was it to have freshmen like Azareye'h, Thomas, Daniel Lyons get 20 or so snaps to be able to play a lot? What kind of information can you gather from that?
Yeah, good question, Chris. I think very valuable, right? And in those games, it's always, and I tell the coaches, whatever your plan is, just stick to it when it comes to rotations, especially when you're in games like that and it starts to get, away from the opponent pretty quick. And, we try to stick to a rotation. Then at one point, I kind of let them know what plan B is from now, what is the rotation when you start moving guys around in games like that. But I thought our guys, the ability to keep focused, what I loved about it was on the sidelines, in the last play of the game when Azareye'h comes up and makes a tackle with Omar Graham, and how excited our guys got when Rodney Hill scored, to see our sideline get excited. That shows you something about your football team. The other one that you mentioned was Daniel Lyons. Daniel played really well. There's a reason, you can empty your bench in games like that, but what we did is the guys that deserve to get in the game, we try to get them in the game, and because they've earned the right to do it. And playing out there on that field is special. And when you get an opportunity to do it regardless of the score, it was good to see some of those young guys take advantage of it.
Chris?
Duquesne got rid of the ball quickly, kind of neutralizing some of the pass rush results, but how did those guys on the front porch do as far as creating pressure and doing their job against the run
Yeah, I
game?
mean, even the first third down, I think we put the quarterback down. I think Jared walked the tackle back into him, and Derek got the edge and kind of got a piece of him too. So, we came free on a couple stunts, but I mean, there weren't many opportunities. They were 1 of 10 on third down, and the one they got was a short yardage flat route that we busted. But I thought our guys up front did a nice job. I mean, we're a 4-man rush team, and our guys did a nice job creating rushes when they needed to, and I was happy with the up front performance.
Go back to Ira.
When you, the safeties, I mean, obviously Jamie has a reputation, but it seemed like, seemed like he made very active, made a lot of plays. Has he changed any? Is he a different player at all than he was a year ago? Has he developed, even though he was first team all ACC last year?
Yeah, he's better right now than he was when he finished the season. He's playing more tight to his frame. You see that one pass breakup he made on the crossing route towards their sideline in space, and just the violence that he got the ball out. And then when we played him at dime, he had a one-on-one player on their sideline on a third down, and he's a lot more calm in coverage. He is an accelerator, he is a violent mover, but just getting him in really good position, and when he's at the top of the play, things slow down for him right now. And so I thought he did a nice job with that. He's always been good when he sees the ball and running and tackling and run the alley, but the coverage stuff I think he's really made a lot of strides with. We added him in on one blitz Saturday night too that was playing for him. So just finding different ways to get your good players in action.
Aslan?
After the game on Saturday, Coach Norvell sounded pretty confident about Duke's availability for this coming week. Just I guess, how confident are you in his effectiveness, and how vital will he be considering LSU's weapons on the perimeter?
Yeah, I mean, if we put him out there, Duke will be ready. He was out there last night moving around, and Duke did everything he could to play in that game. I mean, it hurt him. But I told him, you know, you go, you try to get ready, and it's going to be my decision, not yours. And I think that helps him, you know, feel like he doesn't need to do above and beyond. And, you know, so, you know, I trust Duke. He works extremely hard in that training room, on the practice field. He's very reliable, and I know he'll give everything he can to be out there this coming up Sunday.
Aslan, last one.
Just, can you share kind of your thoughts at first glance of guys like Keyshawn Butte and Malik Neighbors is a guy that they've talked about having a really good camp. Jack Besh is a guy, a true freshman, caught 40 passes, just their receiving core as a whole.
Yeah, super talented. Butte is, I mean, I say this with all respect, I mean, he's a tailback when he catches the ball. You know, he cuts, he makes people miss, you know, he runs the daylight. He's got really strong hands, but to see him explode through tacklers, you know, was impressive for a wide receiver, you know, and he's taking short balls and making them into long runs. He's taken distance balls and got in the end zone. He's caught contested catches. You know, really good player.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks.